Today we are going to read Joseph Lekuton, Making a Difference by Philip Kennedy. And as we're reading, I want you to pay attention to the genre. Remember, the genre is a category of writing. And this type of genre is a biography. A biography tells the story of someone's life. The author uses words like he and him to give information about the person. And if you remember from our previous story, there's going to be a question about who is telling the story and how do you know. Remember, Mrs. Mokel's reading the story, but I am not the narrator of the story that we're going to read. Well, the biography. We're also going to connect across text. We're going to read about a man who tries to help others in Kenya, Africa. So quickly, let's do a picture walk. You can see we're going to pay attention to some text features. So pictures are text features. They help us to understand the text better. But a picture by itself doesn't really help us unless we're paying attention to the caption. So right here you can see there's a little arrow and it says Joseph Lekuton. So this is Joseph. There's also a photograph right here you can see, and it might be hard to see up on the screen, but these are actually cattle, and then there's some workers that you can see. Notice the landscape. There's mountains in the background, right? Then over here we have a map, and if you look at our map, it shows, here's a globe, then it shows Africa, and then right here it has Kenya, and it's pointing with this black line to this little red space. That's Kenya. Over on this page, we have another picture of Lekuton's village. Now, we don't necessarily live in villages, but we live in neighborhoods. So you might think about how are those things the same, a village and a neighborhood? How are those things different? Does your neighborhood look like this? Down here, we have a picture of a hyena, and I know that because there's a photograph with a little caption right here. And then over here, it says a hyena hole is a hole where a wild animal called a hyena lives. Over here, another photograph, and the caption reads, original photo of Lekuton with his school soccer team. So I don't know about you, but I've never seen any elephants in any of your soccer games or in any pictures of soccer teams here in St. George, Utah. As we turn the page, over here, another photograph. A Maasai boy takes care of cattle. Then over on this page, this picture, obviously we can see there's a tree. There's not much going on in the background, right? It looks really dry and like a desert, but it's a school in Kenya. And if I wouldn't have read that caption, I might think that maybe these kids are gonna play a game, or maybe these kids are on a field trip somewhere. But when I read the caption helps me understand that this is actually a school in Kenya. And that will be the end of our text today. So let's go through it. I'm going to make sure I stop at the bold text and we'll refer to them down here. We'll do our questions when we read it the second time. So let's get started. Joseph Lekuton, Making a Difference by Philip Kennedy. Joseph Lekuton was born in Kenya, a country in Africa. Joseph and his family are Maasai, and if I come down here and look, they belong to a group of people in Kenya who live and work together. Many of the Maasai take care of cattle. You might already know what cattle are, but if you don't, down here it tells you cattle are cows. Now, I think before we go on, I do want you to think about questions that you might have about Joseph, because you're going to have to answer that when we read it the second time. So be thinking in your mind, what are some questions that you have about Joseph as we read? And important decision. Every Maasai family has to send one child to school. So Joseph's father sent one of Joseph's brothers, but his brother didn't like school. He hid in a hyena hole, a hole where wild animals called hyenas live. And he didn't go to class. Now, if I look down here, I missed the word decision. It was up here in our section heading. An important decision is a choice. So his family could only send one person to school, and so his dad sent his brother. Did his brother want to go? Think about that. Okay, over here, Joseph wanted to go to school. He volunteered. Oh, there's one of our vocabulary words. Think in your mind. You know what volunteer means. He volunteered to go instead of his brother. When Joseph was older, he went to schools in faraway parts of the country. One school was 600 miles away. 600 miles is very far, and this tells you 965 kilometers, which doesn't really help you very much. A challenge. Keeping Joseph in school was difficult, right? Oh, look, I missed a word. Challenge is a hard job. Keeping Joseph in school was difficult, not easy. His family sold a lot of their cattle to pay his school fees, the money it cost for him to go to school. Joseph was also far from home. He couldn't always help his family care for their cattle. A way to help others. So this section is going to be about a way to help others. When Joseph grew up, he became a teacher. He helped build schools in Maasai communities. He also helped create scholarships. Down here it tells us, made it possible for more children to go to school. Joseph's work has made a difference. Now it is a little easier for Maasai children to go to school. The more children we can educate, or down here it tells us teach, the fewer problems we'll have in Africa, Joseph says.